Hi, second graders. Welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 10.11, Grouping with Parentheses. The materials that you'll need: notebook paper, pencil, math journal, and then just when we get to math boxes, you'll need your template and your calculator. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is go over our math boxes from page 259. If you're noticing any mistakes, please correct those mistakes with your pencil and eraser. For question number 1, we need to circle the digit in the thousands place. So for the number 4,694, you should have circled the 4 way over to the left. In the number 29,400, you should have circled the 9. In the number 20,004, you should have circled the 0 that is right next to the 2. In the number 5,019, you should have circled the 5. For question number 2, if I have a $5 bill and I spend $4.38, how much change do I get? So if I'm starting at $4.38, if I add 2 pennies, I'm at $4.40. A dime gets me to $4.50. From $4.50, I know if I add 2 more quarters, I would get up to $5, giving me a total change of 62 cents. For question number 3, you needed to show 25 degrees on your thermometer. So notice how my line goes right up to that dash in between 20 and 30. And then I would be going to the beach if it's 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. For question number 4, write 5 names for 75 cents. Now there's lots of possible answers, so yours maybe look very different than mine, and that's okay. So a few ways that I chose: I did 3 quarters, I did 7 dimes and a nickel, I did a subtraction problem, $1 minus 25 cents, I did an addition problem, 50 cents plus 25 cents, and I did one final subtraction problem of 85 cents minus 10 cents. So I want you to just double check your names and make sure that all 5 of your names also equal 75 cents. For question number 5, again, there's lots of possible answers. You maybe have something completely different than me, but 3 shapes that I could think about in the shape of a rectangular prism would be a cereal box, a book, or a dresser. For question number 6, if I have 5 wagons, 4 wheels on each, how many wheels? You can see how I filled in my diagram, and I know that I have a total of 20 wheels. So again, double check to make sure that you have this correct, and please fix any mistakes with your pencil and eraser. For the next slides, use your notebook paper or a whiteboard and marker if available to write down your answers. If the speed is too fast, please pause as often as needed. So second graders, today we're starting something new, and we are introducing parentheses. And parentheses are what I have right around the word parentheses. So when we have a problem where there's more than one thing that we are doing, adding parentheses is going to help us know what to do first. So like in the problem 8 minus 5 plus 3, notice how I'm doing some subtracting plus I'm adding. Well, depending on what I do first is going to change my answer. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's say I do 8 minus 5 first. And for this first one, you can just kind of watch. If you want to try working it out, you could do that as well. So if I know that 8 minus 5 is 3, I like to solve whatever in parentheses first, and I like to just write that number up top. Whenever I do that, I'm going to write that number up top in red, but my actual answer I'll put in black. So once I have 3, well, 3 plus 3 is 6. Now, second graders, watch if I would have done it in a different order. If I would choose to do 5 plus 3 first, well, I know 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So notice how I do whatever is in parentheses first, but then I go back and solve it kind of like I was reading a book. I go back to the beginning and do 8 minus 8. Let's try a couple more. So we'll practice a few parentheses problems in our notebook, And I want you to press pause to solve and then play to hear the answer. So try solving 12 minus 6 minus 3 and try solving first with 12 minus 6 first in parentheses and then with 6 minus 3 in parentheses. And then press play when you're ready to hear my answer. So when I'm solving 12 minus 6 minus 3, I know that 12 minus 6 is 6, and then 6 minus 3 is 3. Now, if I do it the opposite way and do 6 minus 3 first, well, 6 minus 3 is 3, and then 12 minus 3 is equal to 9. So see how I got a completely different answer depending on what part of the problem I did first. Now, that's not always going to happen. Let's take a look at another example. This time, can you solve 9 plus 8 first? Maybe write down your answer up top, and then subtract that from 5. And then try 8 minus 5 first, and add that to 9. And then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. I know that 9 plus 8 is 17, and I know that 17 minus 5 is equal to 12. Now for the second one, I know that 8 minus 5 is 3. Well, 9 plus 3 is 12. So sometimes we get the same answer even though we did a different part first. But still, the parentheses tells us which part of the problem we need to do first. We're going to practice a lot more of these problems in our math journal page in just a little bit, but there's one more piece of this I want to introduce. So sometimes we're going to get numbers and an answer, but we need to put the parentheses in order to make the problem true. So if I have 20 minus 8 plus 6 equals 6, well, what part of this do I need to do first in order to get 6 as my answer? I want you to try and then press play when you're ready to hear my answer. So if I put my parentheses around 8 plus 6, I know that 8 plus 6 is 14, and then 20 minus 14 equals 6. Now, if I want my answer to get to 18, then I need to put my parentheses around 20 minus 8, because 20 minus 8 is 12, and then 12 plus 6 is equal to 18. Let's try another one. If I have the numbers 16 minus 10 plus 2, and for the first time I want to equal 4, where would I put the parentheses in order to make that true? Which part of that do I need to do first? Press pause and then play to hear the answer. If I put my parentheses around 10 plus 2, and I know 10 plus 2 is 12, then I can solve it, go start at 16 again. 16 minus 12 is equal to 4. Now if I wanted it to equal 8, and I put my parentheses around 16 minus 10, which is 6, 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. So again, boys and girls, this was just an introduction, but we're going to practice more of these problems in our math journal in just a moment. So what you can do next is you can put your notebook to the side, and let's take out our math journal. We're going to turn to page 260 first, and we're going to practice more with parenthesis problems. So boys and girls, parentheses can make a big difference in a problem. Take a look at this first example. If I have 15 minus 5 plus 3 equals, and I want to try to figure that out, if I do 15 minus 5 first, I know that that would equal 10. And then if I do 10 plus 3, my answer would be 13. But if I switched it and I did 5 plus 3 first, 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. 15 minus 8 is equal to 7. So let's try solving some problems with parentheses. So if you look at this first set of 6 problems, could you maybe write the answer, like if I solved 8 minus 3, write what that equals right above that, and then do 7 plus and whatever you have here to get your answer. Can you try solving these? And then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Press pause now. Second graders, I'm going to talk about just the problems 1 through 6 now, so hopefully you were able to solve those. If not, or if I get to some and you didn't solve them all yet, then you can pause to go back. So if I have 8 minus 3, I know that's 5. Well, 7 plus 5, then I should have 12. For question 2, I start with 4 plus 11, which is 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. For question 3, I first want to solve 13 minus 9, which is 4, and then 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. For question number 4, I first solve 12 plus 8, which is equal to 20. 20 minus 16 is equal to 4. For question 5, 20 plus 80 is equal to 100. 140 minus 100 equals 40. 30 plus 40 is equal to 70. 70 minus 70 is equal to 0. Second graders, for the second part of the page, we are adding in the parentheses. So can you put parentheses in order to make these true? So again, if I have 12 minus 4 plus 6 equals 14, where would I put the parentheses in order to get that to be correct? Press pause and then play when you're ready to hear the answer. For question number 7, in order to make that true, I would need to do 12 minus 4 first. And then if I add the 6, I would get 14. For question number 8, I would need to do 9 minus 4 first. 9 minus 4 is 5. 15 minus 5 is equal to 10. For question number 9, I would need to do 140 minus 60 first. Then if I add my 30, I would get 110. For question 10, I would need to do 400 minus 100 first, which would get me to 300. 300 plus 200 would get me to 500. For question 11, I would do 3 times 2 first, because 3 times 2 is 6, and then 6 plus 5 is equal to 11. And lastly, for question number 12, I would do 5 minus 5 first, which is equal to 0, and then 2 times 0 is equal to 0. Boys and girls, if you have any questions, you can ask your classroom teacher. You could also try to make up more problems on the side, continuing to work on parentheses. The last thing we'll do is quickly talk about our math boxes. So this is page 261. For the first one, choose any shape on your pattern block template that has at least 2 lines of symmetry. Draw it and then draw the lines of symmetry. Boys and girls, for question number 2, there's a couple different parts to it. The first thing you need to do is circle 3/12 of the dots. Then decide what fraction of the dots is not circled and circle your best answer. Now what I have in red is just a few kind of clues for another name for the fraction. So second graders, depending on what you pick, you can use my equivalent fraction, or you could come up with another fraction that has the same name. For question 3, there's 2 parts. I first want you to add up the different 4 amounts, and then after you write the amounts, you can use your calculator to find the total of all for question 3. For question number 4, 5 nickels is the same thing as 1 quarter. So I put a little hint up top. So if you are given the quarter side, you're going to need to multiply by 5 to get those. I did give you a little bit of a clue with the division one. So if we have 30 nickels and we divide that by 5, we're going to have 6. So if you have 10 quarters, you need to take 10 times 5, or 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 for your repeated addition. For question number 5, I need to know how many months are in 1 year, and then I'm going to take that number and take it times 2, times 3, times 4, or repeated addition for those. For the last question, number 6, if you have 18 pieces of gum to share equally with 4 children, how many pieces are they going to each get? You could divide those into your circles and then put whatever leftover you have on the side. Boys and girls, once you're done, please take a picture and send that to Seesaw. And we will go over this page in our next video. Thank you.